they at one point went out and collected 1 mile of highway litter from one of the highways around Lansing and brought it into the cabinet room in Lansing to show the media that there was an issue with waste and refuse along our highways. So the bottle bill was one of the most significant that we led the way in the nation with. When the Republican convention was held in Detroit in 1980, my father was on the floor speaking to the people at the convention. My mother was in the street outside Cobo Hall protesting, but the platform hadn't accommodated women's issues the way she felt it needed to.
William G. Milliken, Michigan's longest-serving governor, was known for his environmental stewardship and civility in politics. During his tenure in office, from 1969 until 1983, Milliken lent critical support for Michigan's beverage container deposit law, expanded state funding for recreation and parks programs in Detroit, and signed the state's landmark Environmental Protection Act, as well as laws to protect sand dunes, control hazardous waste, and promote recycling. Milliken passed away in October 2019 in his native and beloved Traverse City. He was preceded by his wife Helen, herself a champion of environmental stewardship and the women's rights movement. A memorial service in celebration of Governor Milliken will be held on August 6 at the Interlochen Center for the Arts. In anticipation of the event, Flow is publishing a series of short video interviews with those who knew the governor and Helen well. Look for those videos in the coming days.
As a boy, when he was growing up here in Traverse City, they had a summer home over in Acme, on the East Bay, where he knew every inch of shoreline and grew up fishing and appreciating nature over there. And that's what really instilled in him his love of nature and the outdoors. Over on East Bay, up on the bluff, there was a big tree on privately owned property that they cut down one day. And for what purpose, I don't know, but it made a profound impression on him because the idea of felling a tree for no purpose stuck with him, and he forever regretted it, and he used to talk about it repeatedly, about how abuse of nature that was that day. We had a cottage on Mackinac Island that was a place that always meant a great deal to my parents, and we did a lot of bicycling on the island. There were trails early in the morning that my father used to like to take us out on, along the bluffs, looking out at the lakes, and that helped to imbue us all with an appreciation of nature and Mackinac Island. That's where Governor Whitmer has announced that she's going to construct the William Milliken Visitor Center at our Troc on Mackinac Island. Both mother and dad stood for various initiatives along the way. The bottle bill is something that was very contentious at the time and a great deal of industry resistance to that my father pushed through. My sister was instrumental in raising her awareness of women's issues, and mother grew to be chair of ERA America and have a national leadership position in the women's movement. Well, after Dad retired as governor, Howard Baker, who was Senate Majority Leader, asked him to come to Washington to try and interest him in running for Michigan's U.S. Senate seat that was coming up. And he went to Washington and he spent some time with various people there, and they all told him that they thought he'd make a fine U.S. Senator. But he came back to Michigan, and I remember one night at the family dinner table, him looking out in the distance at West Bay shoreline, saying, "If I went to Washington, I'm not sure how I'd get back to Traverse City on the weekends." Well, the civility aspect is in sharp contrast to the kind of politics that we're seeing practiced today. Dave Dempsey's book, biography of my father, is a very good character sketch of the qualities that made him up and the things that he stood for, and reasons that people need to get involved today to bring good values back to politics and civility.